Ships of an alien source are approaching from the sky. Radio contact has been attempted but cannot be established. Instructions are to prepare for an attack by an unknown enemy.
Well done, well done. Well done, well done. Well done, well done.
Hey, what's up guys? I'm back with another video. Obviously this is called Shoulder Training 101, so we're going to be talking about hitting the shoulders, okay? A few things you need to know just before we start getting going. There are three main heads of the shoulder, which would be the front deltoid, side deltoid, and then the rear deltoid. We're going to do a couple exercises for each. Just some background information as far as using them as secondary muscles. Your front deltoids are going to be used a lot in your pressing movements, such as bench press and also incline press. And then your rear delts are a little bit more difficult. You really don't use them in too many compound movements. And then your rear delts get used a lot in rows and pulls, you know, T-bar rows, barbell rows, depending on your angle really. That can vary there. But those two heads of the shoulder do get hit somewhat, but I do think it's necessary to, you know, maybe not have a clear shoulder day out of the week, but at least combine a few shoulder exercises with another muscle group. So just getting started here, the first exercise is going to be to hit your front deltoid. Using this exercise first is important because you're going to be fresh, which means you're going to be able to use the heaviest weight possible, and that's important because obviously the heavier weight you're going to use, the more mass you're going to build. So the demonstration I'm about to show you is dumbbell overhead press. Good alternatives to this exercise would obviously be dumbbell overhead press. That really works the front delts as well, and also upright rows, pretty good mass builder for the shoulder. But like I said, this is dumbbell overhead press. I'm going to demonstrate the form here. Most people know how to do this form. I just want to go over it a little bit and make sure people are doing it right and stuff like that. So just obviously this is just for demonstration, but everyone has kind of their feel-good point as far as how low to go. I do recommend having something behind you to stabilize it and make sure you can stand straight up. That way you can use a little heavier weight because you don't have to worry about stability as much. So I'll get lined up with that, and then once you're here, obviously feet flat on the ground. You want to keep your core as tight as possible, but it shouldn't be working too hard. And once I would have the dumbbells up, I do have a little trick. If I'm using heavier dumbbells, I don't have a spotter, I will just kind of pop them up with my knees. So pop it up like that, and then once I get here, I'll pop up really quick. And I probably wouldn't count this as that first rep since it's a half rep. So this is my first rep, counting like this. Obviously slow and controlled on the way down. And then that would be one. Okay, now if you watch the form here, I go a little bit past 90 degrees. You can stop at 90 degrees if you like, but if it feels comfortable, you should drop a little bit lower. And then when you press up, don't lock out all the way. The main reason for that is so you don't injure your elbows, hyperextending them. And also you're going to keep a lot of the pressure on the shoulders, which is obviously what we're trying to do with this exercise. Like I said, this is for the front delts mainly. You're also going to hit a little bit of side delt, but this is definitely, along with barbell, overhead press, and upright row, the best mass builders you can do for your overall shoulders, especially your fronts and side delts. As far as rep ranges to go here, you can go a little bit heavier here, especially if you use a barbell. I would say 3 to 4 sets, 6 to 12 reps. For most beginners, I recommend pyramiding. Go over that. It's just starting with a lighter weight, doing 12 reps, and then progressively doing more weight, and then dropping the reps down. 3 to 4 sets. You can go pretty heavy here, but I definitely recommend, if you're going heavy with the dumbbells, to have a spotter so you don't injure your shoulder trying to get it up to you don't injure your shoulder trying to get the weight up to your shoulder. That's pretty much it, guys. And then we'll go to the second exercise, hitting the side delts. Here we are, guys. The second exercise, this is going to be hitting the side delt now. Why is side delts important? It's not important as your front delt. You know, you're obviously going to hit a little bit of side delt when you do your overhead pressing, like I said, but it's mainly for your front. It's pretty important to isolate your side delt with some exercises, though. It kind of gives your shoulder that cap looked off between, like, the separation between your bicep and your tricep. Kind of give that shoulder that three-dimensional look. So it's really important for the overall shoulder development. And in contrast with the front and rear delt, it really doesn't get hit that much with compound exercises like presses and rows. So it's extra important to hit it with isolation movement. Some alternatives to the exercise I'm about to show you. There aren't a lot to hit the side delts. You can do a similar exercise like this with the cable, and it'd pretty much be the same motion I'm about to show you. Cables are pretty good for this exercise because it keeps constant tension on the side delt. But I kind of favor free weights with most exercises, so that's what I'm going to show you guys here. This is pretty standard. You know, most people do this. Again, just making sure everybody knows the form. A few mistakes I see people doing is when they come down with the dumbbells, they'll rest them on their legs. You definitely don't want to do that because that'll take the tension off your shoulders. And also, they'll bring their shoulders back, kind of pinch their traps together. And that isn't bad necessarily. It'll just kind of bring your traps into play. What we're trying to do here is hit our side delts, isolating them. So what you want to kind of do is bring the dumbbells even forward and your shoulders forward a little bit, and that'll make sure you're just hitting your side delts. And what you want to imagine here is just kind of leading with your pinkies, and then as you come up, you want your palms facing the floor at the top of the exercise. So you're coming up for 1, and then as I come down, I don't touch with my legs. I only come about 80–90% of the way down, and then I'll repeat it. That would be 2 and 3. Notice I don't go crazy high. You don't want to be doing this right here. You really don't need to do that. It might hurt your shoulder. It kind of takes the tension off the muscle, puts it to the joint. So you want to just go parallel with your shoulders, palms to the floor, almost touching your legs. But if you do it right, you'll definitely feel the constant tension on those side delts. And in my opinion, you know, this is the best exercise you can do for your side delts. Like I said, it kind of gives you that cap off look, a tie in between your bicep and tricep, so it's pretty important, guys. You can do a little more volume here since you're not hitting it with other exercises. So I would say 3 to 5 sets. With the reps, you can keep them a little higher. Obviously, since the isolation movement, I usually keep them in between 10 to 15 reps here. And now we'll go on to the rear delt movement. Here we are, guys, the last movement. This is really going to hit the rear delts. Like I said, rear delts get hit a little bit with some of your rowing movements, but I do think it's important to isolate them for a few sets every shoulder workout. So the best exercise, in my opinion, very similar to the lateral raise for your side delts, is a rear delt fly. Pretty prevalent in gyms. Want to make sure I'm getting the form down. There are a few different ways to do this, but the one big mistake I see people doing is raising up when they come up and contract with the rear delts. So I'll make sure you guys understand the easiest way to just stick the strict form. So you're not gonna need a lot of weight in this exercise. I think I use 15 or 20 pounds along with the lateral raises. They just don't require a lot of weight in order to really feel it. So there are 2 different ways to do this. You can keep the dumbbells pointed to the front and back walls, and then as you come up, put your palms facing towards the floor, or the way I prefer to do it is actually have my palms facing the floor the entire time and then just contract like that. So I'll show you the exercise. You want your chest not on your knees, but you want to definitely be folded over and try not to come up when you contract. So you're right here, I'm demonstrating palms to the floor the entire time, and when I come up, I just want to squeeze right there, feel it in my rear delts, come all the way down. Similar to the lateral raise, you don't need to come all the way together and touch the weights. You just need to get about 80–90% so you can really keep the constant tension on the rear delt. And just come up again with the same fly. Squeeze right there. Slight bend in the elbows. You don't need complete straight arms. And you really feel this. These are just 10 pounds. And if I did about 15 or 20 reps, I'd be toast. So obviously you don't need a lot of weight. And as you see, my chest isn't going anywhere when I'm coming up and contracting. I see a lot of people who do this when they get too heavy. They'll start doing that, and now I'll kind of take off the constant tension off the rear delts. Another common mistake here, even I do this a lot, is you'll tend to go back with the dumbbells instead of just going straight to your rear delts. So if you're here, you kind of have a tendency to go back and up instead of just a straight line up. So really try to nail the form on this. Like I said, it's an isolation exercise, so form is extra important. And that's pretty much it for the shoulders, guys. I gave you the overhead press, dumbbell overhead press for front and side delts. That's really going to give you a complete, like a base foundation to build some mass on your shoulder. And with the side delt, side laterals, that'll really get that cap looking. the cap, three-dimensional pop of your shoulder. And then with the rear delts, that's really going to give you like a thicker upper back, work with your traps, work with your back. Just summarize shoulder training in a whole. You can be pretty versatile with it because your shoulders tie in with so many muscle groups. You know, you're using your shoulders a little bit when you're doing your chest. You're using shoulders a little bit when you're using your back. So what you want to put them with really kind of depends on you and your needs. The only advice I can really give is use a priority principle, which pretty much entails however you think your shoulders look on your body, put them with a group that works accordingly. So just to make the sense of that, if I believe I have really, really good shoulders, but I have a kind of a weaker chest, then I could do chest and shoulders together. Make sure I do chest first, since I'm going to be fresh doing those exercises to really, really help with the development, and then hit maybe like 8 to 12 sets of shoulders afterwards. And then it'd be the exact opposite. If you thought your shoulders are really, really lacking, maybe give them a separate day and just kill them, or maybe do shoulders, bicep, and tricep. That's a popular one. And then do your shoulder exercises first. So it really, really depends on you and your needs. As far as the volume, it really just depends again. I would say anywhere from 8 to, even like 20 sets. If you really think you have like weak shoulders or you're an advanced trainee, you can go upwards, 15, 20 sets. But I definitely recommend, if you're doing that much volume, to have a separate day and not hit anything with it. Or don't do 20 sets on your shoulders after you just did 15 sets with your chest. Make sure you split it up so you're not doing a ton of volume in a workout. That's pretty much it, guys. So those are the exercises. Some alternatives, I'll put that in real quick. I showed you the first exercise for your front delt would be dumbbell overhead press. Some alternatives would also be barbell overhead press, upright row, hit your front delt, and that's a really good mass builder. And also behind the neck press, that's pretty popular, where you actually have a bar behind your neck and you'll be doing the same movement as a barbell press. That's a little bit dangerous though. I tend not to do a lot of stuff behind my neck because I know it's pretty hard on your shoulders. So I would say definitely, if you're going to do that, use a Smith machine, or make sure you have a partner spotting you. For the side laterals, there's not a lot you can do. There's not a lot you can do there. In my opinion, the just regular dumbbell side laterals are the best. You can also do those standing. I prefer sitting because I feel like it isolates a little bit more and I don't rock as much. And you can also do those with cables. That's really, really good because it keeps a constant tension on there. For the rear delts, you can be hitting that a little bit with your rows, a little bit with your pulls. The other exercise I use for rear delts would be a rear delt pull to kind of like your eyes or your face, and that would hit your rear delts along with your traps. That's on, I believe, my back training video if you want to check out that. And then also the rear delt flies I showed you. So that's it, guys. That's a shoulder training. If you guys have any questions, let me know below. Rate my videos. Let me know what you guys think, and I hope you're training hard.